I can assure you that while outside you hear bomb explosions, your prayer to these archangels is most sincere prayer in your life, no matter how you express your prayer.
Salutations, listeners, and welcome back to Glitch Bottle, the podcast where we uncork the uncommon in magic, mysticism, and the generally misunderstood. I'm Alexander Eth, and today we are very honored to discuss the war of art with the Ukrainian-based esoteric artist known as Nightgrowler. Since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine on February 24th, 2022, the Ukrainian people have demonstrated incredible courage, heart, and inspiration to the world as they resist oppression and fight. And that fight includes battling in the realms of art and magic. Nightgrowler is a Ukrainian esoteric artist who joins us from where he was sheltering inside Kyiv, the Ukrainian capital city. We were in communication, and when the airstrike alarms died down for a bit, we recorded this podcast. Nightgrowler shares about the power of making esoteric art, the deep influence of Alan Moore on his work, how art is magic, how art can help resist oppression, and what other artists and other magicians and us listeners can do to directly support Ukraine as it fights for its survival and for peace. Make sure to check out the video and podcast descriptions for direct links on ways that you can help the Ukrainian people as well as support Nightgrowler's work. For those watching this episode on YouTube, we'll also have images of the esoteric art pieces that are displayed as Nightgrowler discusses them. And now to help us uncork the uncommon from the Ukrainian capital city of Kyiv, let's welcome esoteric artist Nightgrowler. Nightgrowler, thank you so much for taking the time with so much going on around you from the capital city of Kyiv to join us on the Glitch Bottle podcast today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for reaching to me and for this ability to share all this situation, all this stuff. And I am a little bit nervous, and I want to say to the listeners, my sorry in forward for my English, because I can have some pauses while thinking for the best words, what I'm trying to say. Thank you. Thank you.
It is a privilege just to be able to chat with you. And right before we recorded, you mentioned that the air alarms were going around throughout the capital city of Kyiv, and then they just stopped. Yeah. And you are in the capital. Can you just share with listeners about whatever you can share and are comfortable sharing about where are you and what is your current state of safety and just what is going on right now?
For last few years, I was living in an apartment in a big building, which has many apartments. But now with family of my girlfriend, we are hiding in a private home, which has pretty nice, so to say, basement. The basement is basically like corridor of regular house, because in that house in which I was living, basement, which is like for this kind of needs, it's very dark, it's very uncomfortable, and it's very old, and it has many of pretty dangerous tubes with canalizations and all this stuff. And in case of some attack, it is not safe space, the basement in my regular home. So now we are sheltering in, it's like much better place than we are inhabiting for regular time. I don't know, 1-2 hours ago was an airstrike alarm, so we were hiding in basement, but now it looks like it's more safe time and space, and I came up to have this talk.
This invasion took place on February 24th. So just as we record this about a week and a half ago, can you share with us, where were you during the invasion itself when it first happened, and just what has happened since then?
I was at home, and I remember that time very good because I wasn't sleeping. I was doing my artistic routine. I was drawing. I was making my symbolic stuff. And suddenly I heard the explosions, and first thing that I did was waking up my girlfriend, and then we turned on first media, any media. I don't even remember what that was. Maybe that was a Telegram channel, maybe that was YouTube. And we get informed that Putin announced denazification, as he said, and demilitarization of Ukraine. And that was just a horrible experience, because first 3 nights would be better words. We spent in the basement of that house, and that's not good environment for staying sane. I don't know, because it looks like these photos from SCP Foundation materials, like dark gray corridors with tubes and mud, and that was very stressful experience. And it was full of old people, of our neighbors, and everyone was very frightened, and it was like everyone is waiting for an end of life, I guess. So that was something like that.
You are, and the Ukrainian people are just so incredibly brave and are demonstrating so much courage. And you are doing this, Night, in so many ways that you've shared publicly on your Instagram. And one of them is, as you're going through this, you are still creating art. And for the listeners, we'll make sure to link to your page, but you create these beautiful esoteric, digital, sigilistic, deeply embedded with symbolism, and whether it's tarot or Kabbalah or ceremonial magic, you have these wonderful pieces. And I'd like to read something that you posted for the listeners on your Instagram. You posted artwork, digital sigilistic artwork of the 4 angels that many listeners are familiar with: Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, and Uriel. And you said, quote, 3 of these 4 artworks of these angels were made in the basement while sheltering in the time of the airstrike alarm. No one should live through anything like this in our time. Help stop this war. And can you just share with us, my gosh, Night, being in the situation you're in, can you share with us about the process? How do you create art? How do you transform all of these feelings and all of what you're going through into the creation of esoteric art?
Making of these artworks is one of my ways to basically stay sane and to do what I know the best. For my whole life, I am 30 right now. That was my passion, to draw. And for nearly 27, 28 years, I haven't a stable answer to the question, why do I do this? When I was 27, I had a major, so to say, existential crisis. I couldn't understand, why am I here? What am I doing here? Why am I doing these pictures? Like I was asking to myself. I thought that these are just pretty pictures. And someday I was very into pop culture and into comic book stuff. And I was, and I am, a very big fan of the work of Mr. Alan Moore. He wrote Watchmen, he wrote V for Vendetta, he wrote From Hell, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and many, many, many other critically acclaimed comics. There was a day when I discovered that he proclaimed on his 14th birthday that he is a magician. And I was very curious about that statement. What does he mean? Is it just, so to say, a very loud quote from a man who climbed up on a career mountain and can shut out some pretty, I don't know, is it a joke? Is it insanity? Or is there something in this statement which can be true? And I began to investigate on what does he mean by that statement. And I found his essay, which is called Fossil Angels. And it is all about one simple statement that magic equals art and art equals magic. And that essay is like some sort of turning point in my life, because this essay explained to me what I was doing. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sentimental at this point, because that means a lot to me. That essay explained to me that these are not just pictures. These pictures are ideas captured in some sort of form. And this is basically a method of transporting ideas which are meaningful to us. And I can assure you that while outside you hear bomb explosions, your prayer to these archangels is most sincere prayer in your life, no matter how you express your prayer. Is it a picture? Is it words? But I don't know what could I do better than this. So that was my form of prayer to these archangels. Mikhail was drawn before the Russian invasion, because Russia combined their forces around borders, and that was not so obvious. No one believed that Putin will do this. Everyone thought that it was just a trick, attempt to gain fear. But I drew Mikhail in a forward, like a protective spell, I don't know. And next one was Gabriel. He was drew on Monday. I don't remember what that was date, but I remember that that was a Monday, and I understood in the moment that I need to do all four angels from Lesser Banishing Ritual, from any other. That's elemental archangels. They are like famous construct of ideas. I don't know like how to say it better. But on the Monday, I understood that as it's Monday, it's Moon Day. So Gabriel is needed to be drawn right now as an idea of peace bringing to my land. And next to Raphael and Uriel seemed like logical continuation of that idea, because Raphael, as you may know, his very name means healing of God, which is definitely needed to my land and my people. And Uriel, the light of God, he stands for the earth element, which means body, land, earth, and all material. I think that help of these four elements is very needed, and my prayer for their help was in form of these images of archangels.
Night, one of the things you mentioned is that people can use your amazing artwork with the four angels for their own practice as well.
Yeah.
To your point, you introduced me. I heard about the Alan Moore essay, Fossil Angels, a while ago, but I never read it. And then yesterday, when you shared it with me, I read it, and we'll make sure to link to it. But can you talk about how your process is for art and for magic is a living, powerful tradition? Because in the essay, Alan Moore takes direct aim at so many ceremonial magicians who they just sit around and they kind of, take magic very lightly, or they don't really put in the effort to practice. And he said, no, magic is art, and art is a dynamic, powerful force. Can you talk about just how you put that and infuse your amazing sigilistic works with this kind of power?
I can provide you with very illustrative example, which is basically the tarot. Because if you look at, for example, Marseille's tarot, you can see it or even Visconti Sforza. Visconti Sforza tarot deck, it's like combination of carnival popular archetypes, so to say. The origins of tarot is very debatable question, and if we look only on the examples which we have from museums and, so to say, official history, so Visconti Sforza is first of all, collection of carnival archetypal images of medieval people. And when you look into Marseille's deck, it becomes more esoteric. When you look at French attempts to interpret tarot, they are attributing Hebrew letters to the major arcana. They are trying to establish some correspondences between the zodiac, between the planets, between the elements and major arcana. When you are looking to the British attempts to interpret tarot, you can see more structured system. And if you look to the Thoth tarot deck, you can find there maybe even some of Einstein quotes if you are looking at Book of Thoth. So the tarot being unarguably a work of art, first of all, tarot is like a living organism, because tarot being such powerful, and it's very balanced system. If you know all correspondences and if you are familiar with Tree of Life and how it corresponds to tarot and all this stuff, if one knows all that thing, he can understand how tarot can capture your curious mind, because there is beauty in this system. So with that beauty, tarot as a living organism impresses new and new minds and artists. And one day I had a small revelation on the tarot, which can be said in one quote: tarot, a sacred book of Thoth, writes itself. So this system captures minds of talented people, and they are making new and new variations on it. I have some profound insights myself in this work, because, for example, I am drawing my variation of Thoth tarot deck, and when I was sketching an emperor, I was thinking on that famous Sadi is not the star, and I was thinking to place on a scepter of the emperor sign of Aries, because this card corresponds to Aries. And when I drew it, I understood that sign of Aries looks exactly like a fishing hook. And fishing hook is basically the translation of the letter Tzadi. And I used this geometry idea play, so to say, in my work. It's far from finished, so I can't share it right now, but That's a nice example of how art and magic is very bound to each other. I see all these systems like astrology, Kabbalah, Tarot, and other systems as some kind of blueprints of how previous people achieved their own gnosis. And you can mimic them, but I see them as, first of all, as a blueprint. So as an example, not a thing which you need to duplicate correctly, so to say.
One of the things that you do, Night, in addition to all of this, is, as you say, you make it your own and you directly infuse this with your own esoteric symbolism, but also with the needs of what's going on right now. And one of the things that really strikes me is how you are creating these sigilistic, esoteric pieces, tying them in with Ukraine and the different cities of Ukraine. And so, for instance, you posted a sigilistic expression that you did on the city of Kyiv. And you said, "Did you know that the crest of the city of Kyiv has an image of both the caduceus and the cornucopia? Also, did you know," you say, "that the city Kyiv, the largest city with Russian language speakers in Ukraine, is one of the most suffering cities of the Russian warfare aggression?" And that is such a powerful statement because you are sharing this esoteric symbolism, and it's gorgeous what you're putting together, and you're also informing people about the cities and the history. Can you talk about that process, about creating these sigils, these esoteric artworks, but also sharing about Ukraine and about the cities?
The story of Kharkiv, the story which is writing right now, is for now a tragedy, because one of the most regular statement in Russian government is that Russian language speakers in Ukraine are suffering and oppressed. I am Russian language speaker for myself. I was raised in Russian speaking family. I was going to a Russian language school, but I haven't been oppressed in Ukraine for my language for one day. Never that happened. And Kharkiv is largest of Russian-speaking cities, and it suffered a lot. As I said, the crest of Kharkiv contains a caduceus of Mercury and cornucopia of Zeus. As you may know, Hermes stands for the trading, for languages, for travel, and Zeus stands for the politics, for abundance, for religion. And I guess that country which attacked city, which is protected by Mercury and Zeus, is suffering some punishment from these gods right now, because trading, travel, and abundance, I guess, are getting off Russian environment. And my idea with depicting these crests is, first of all, they are circled with blue and yellow colors, which are colors of Ukraine and which are colors of Hesed Sephira from Kabbalah, which is Sephira of Zeus, which is idea of the creator and protector of humankind, as I understand that. I'm using a symbolic of the cities which are under attack, and I am infusing these symbols with my knowledge in esoteric area, because, for example, when I drew a crest of Mariupol, which has an anchor on it, because it's a city with a port with ships and sea near. So I drew this anchor stylized with an image of hieroglyphic monad of John Dee, which is a very powerful symbol, and the anchor and moon crest from previous Mariupol crests reminded me the geometry of hieroglyphic monad. So I depicted it on this crest as some sort of protective force of past magicians' heritage, so to say. Today I drew, that's like more protection in forward to Kyiv. I redrew Archangel Michael in colors in which he is depicted on the Kyiv's crest. And I made the image looking more defensive and more, so to say, masculine, because right now crest of Kyiv looks not so childish, but you can say so. The very idea behind these images is like a protective spell, which is infused by Ukrainian people's attention because they see those images, and it's for the spirit of Ukrainian people. It's an image of hope and image of which symbolize that people in these cities are standing, that people in cities are protected.
You say here exactly in your latest post, which we'll make sure to link to, did you know that on the crest of Kyiv is depicted the Archangel Michael? Archangel Michael can be viewed as a personification of the very idea of protection. And you say, did you also know that Kyiv was attacked by Nazis at 4 a.m. in 1941, and that Kyiv was attacked by Russia at 4 a.m. in 2022? And then you say, Kyiv stands. I mean, just an incredibly powerful sigilistic expression of not only courage, but the direct infusing of these symbols and these esoteric powers. There are many listeners out there who are hearing what you're saying, and they want to use and help magically using these sigils, using perhaps your own artwork. Can you share with us about how esotericists can help regarding rituals, ways that they can align with this amazing work that you're doing?
They can use my artwork in whatever way which is comfortable with their practice. I have a Telegram channel on which I am publishing full sizes of my work. You can download these full sizes there, and link is on my Instagram, and I will provide all the links on that source. You can print them. One of my major ways of using my artwork in magical practice is using 4K TV. I was just making, so to say, wallpapers for myself, and I was opening these wallpapers with different god forms. For example, I don't know, Mercury on Wednesday, and I was having Chinese tea ceremony with a god, so to say. That's an option too. You can print, use on phone as wallpapers, as anything which is comfortable with your own practice. I see this in this way.
Well, I can say that I have printed yours out and I'm using them in a specific crystallomancy operation as well regarding my own work with the archangelic and the planetary powers as well. So this is incredibly powerful and just such an honor, Nightgrowler, that you are sharing this with the world as well. And there are so many different ways that people want to help. They want to donate financial help, supplies. And you mentioned that there's one link, and we'll make sure to link to it in the video description below. But what is the one place that you would recommend people can help if they want to donate?
Number one place which I would like to recommend for the help of Ukraine is a foundation which is called Save Life in UA. I will provide a link. It has two options: to donate to a military or to donate to humanities. I guess that's for healing, for rebuilding, and all that stuff. So I will send a link for that.
Can you share how people can help support you if they'd like to purchase an NFT on, crypto.com or Foundation or OpenSea? Can you share how people can support you?
Yes, I have links on my NFTs on Instagram. There is a link tree, and I can add credit card info where you can donate if you want to support me personally. I would like to found some, I don't know, maybe work with some publishers later on some esoteric books or something like that. That would be nice, I guess.
I am seeing just on social media so many Ukrainian artists and people who are supporting Ukrainian artists. As you're going through this, just unbelievably difficult process and difficult time, are you connecting with other Ukrainian artists? Are you connecting via social media? You're in Kyiv. Are you able to connect with them in other ways? Like, how are you connecting with other artists?
Basically, the Instagram for now is main platform on which we as artistic community are sharing the images which are other artists making. And yes, for this time, definitely I followed more Ukrainian artists than for a few years, I guess. That's like a Comic-Con, but not so funny.
Where did you grow up? Did you grow up in the city of Kyiv?
I grew up in Zhytomyr. It's 120 kilometers away from Kyiv. And I moved to Kyiv when I was 23. And I'm living here for 8 years, 7, I guess.
So many people, Nightgrowler, are seeing, obviously, these very, very horrible images of war and of destruction. But when it comes to your hometown and when it comes to Kyiv, can you tell us a little bit about before the invasion? Just what are some of the things that you remember doing in your hometown and in Kyiv? And what are some of the things that you want listeners to know about the beauty of Ukraine?
Ukraine is very wonderful, and it's rich on resources and rich on beautiful landscapes. I love my most beloved places are not in Kyiv and Zhytomyr, to be honest. It's Carpathian Mountains. That's just outstanding place. You can't measure how beautiful it is. And I was this summer in friends said that it would be camping, but I can't say that that was camping because it was very difficult where you are with friends going into nature with all stuff and like going for 5 to 7 hours backpacking, I guess. And Carpathian Mountains are just unbelievably stunning place. It's like you are in a fairy tale, in a magical woods, because you can see how forest breathes. And I don't know any words to express that beauty. And in Kyiv, I'm a big fan of Chinese tea ceremonies, culture. There are a few places which are very beautifully installed for Chinese tea ceremony. And there is a community of people like that. And also in Odessa, there is huge Chinese tea ceremony community. I like regular walking by the Kyiv because it's very beautiful city. It has very strong and outstanding history. It's my motherland and I love it.
I certainly join all of the listeners in saying that you are an incredibly brave artist and magician, and all of the people of Ukraine are incredibly courageous. And I know that we are all looking forward to the day when you can walk in Kyiv and have tea ceremonies and go backpacking again with your friends. I know we are deeply looking forward to that day. And I know that your artwork is an incredible esoteric testament to that. We cannot thank you enough for your time in between the air sirens and everything else. What else would you like the listeners to know? What else would you like magicians to know? Anything else that you would like to leave listeners with today?
That's not so easy question, but first of all, I want to thank you for reaching me out and for this dialogue and for your support, because it's very, very important in these times, and I guess this makes us human. And when you are living through something like Lord of the Rings, and when you are seeing how all these connections are making a huge network, which is our answer to the evil which exists in this world, it just takes words away, I guess. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for reaching me out, and I want to say thank you to you who are listening this right now. These times are tough, but I guess that these times are very in alignment with that ancient proverb, know thyself. I guess that's what I could say. And I recommend work of Alan Moore. But little advertisement, I guess, because this man saved my life, because if not his work, I guess I would be just insane right now. I wouldn't stand this mess without knowing that these pictures are not just pictures. I wouldn't stand this horror without knowing that I am meaningful in this. Thank you.
Alan Moore certainly is an inspiration, and you are an absolute inspiration. You are incredibly brave, and the amazing artwork and magical work that you're doing. I know I join the listeners in standing with you and supporting you in any way that we can. Ukrainian-based artist, digital artist, esotericist, Nightgrowler. Nightgrowler, thank you so much, Night, just for taking a few moments and spending some time with us.
Thank you. And I want to thank all the people of Ukraine for this bravery, for a reason to be proud to be Ukrainian, because what our people are doing right now is unbelievable. I want to thank all of them.
Listeners, please check out the links in the podcast and video descriptions to support Ukraine with donations, and also to support Nightgrowler, who is a huge inspiration as well, along with so many Ukrainian artists. Also, we have the link to the Alan Moore essay below. The essay is called Fossil Angels, and it's such a powerful reminder that magic is art, and it's living and it's dynamic. I also think it's so wonderful that Nightgrowler is sharing his esoteric sigilistic artwork for us to use in our own practices, and how, as Nightgrowler puts it, magic is vital in the resistance to oppression, and I've been incorporating his work into my own daily ritual as well. Also, it's been amazing to see the support for Ukraine as the world's eyes are on the events taking place there every day. And I've heard from so many people from Russia who joined the world in condemning the actions of the Russian government. as such a powerful reminder that in any conflict, there's always a difference between the government of a nation and the people of that nation who oppose those decisions. And so it's great to see at this point the entire world coming together in order to support Ukraine. And I hope that amid all of the international news and the stressful times and whatever you're feeling, I hope that we can all take a page from Nightgrowler, who, even as the air sirens are going off, is still making esoteric art, one sigil, one piece at a time. As always, this is Alexander Eth reminding you to invoke often, uncork the uncommon, and keep the light.